Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video loader across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is 7:17 a.m. Wednesday morning, July 10, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems, that we can keep everyone safe this season, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your year recently. Also, feel free to ask any other related questions that you might have about the future other than your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that we still have Beryl right there across the northern sections of the United States. It's now packing winds of 30 miles per hour, and it is moving towards the northeast at 20 miles per hour. So it's post-tropical now, so it's no longer tropical at all. It has definitely lost its strength because it has been moving over land from Texas all the way up towards those areas. We can also see that the Hurricane Center has highlighted a brand new area right there off the southeast coast of the United States. They've only given it a 20%, well, a 10% chance of cyclone formation in the next 7 days. They've stated here a broad trough of low pressure located off the southeastern US coast is currently producing some disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions appear only marginally favorable for some additional development of the system over the next couple of days before it moves inland over the southeastern US by this weekend. And it has a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours or the next 2 days as well. And regardless of this system developing, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS malls have this system right here on Thursday, right here to the east of Florida. Lots of greens, yellows, some oranges that get up into the 3 to 6 to even 12-inch range. So regardless of development of this system, we can see that even the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in consensus that there's going to be a lot of rainfall as represented by the purples, getting up into the burgundy colors, up into the 10 to 12-inch range right there to the east of Florida. And we can see all of that's possibly spilling up into portions of South Carolina, North Carolina, and even sections of Virginia. We see that both the Euro and the GFS malls are in consensus with all of the rainfall that's expected right here off the east coast of the US. Some of this rainfall could definitely affect sections of the northern Bahamas as well. If we take a look at the latest global tropics hazards outlook from the United States Climate Prediction Center, this was issued yesterday, that was July 9, and we know based on the key on the bottom what all of this represents. So you can definitely see a lot of red and whites that represent some tropical cyclone formation probability across the eastern and western Pacific. But we're going to be focusing our attention on this section right here, the Atlantic, and we see that they don't really have much highlighted, just some yellows across the United States that represent 50% chance of above normal temperatures. Not much across the Caribbean or Atlantic, just some browns right there of the northeastern coast of South America that we know represent some below average rainfall, but that's just about it. And this is all valid for the time period from July 17 to July 30. So it's definitely, calmed down in terms of the Atlantic and the tropical development. Not saying that we won't get some tropical waves coming in, but in terms of development, nothing really expected, especially across the main development region into the Caribbean. If we take a look at the latest surface map, we can see that we have a tropical wave right here to the west of the island of Jamaica. We can see another tropical wave right here to the east of the Lesser Antilles. Another tropical wave right here equidistant from Africa and the Caribbean. And we see the ridges of high pressure that we know are responsible for sending all of these tropical waves from east to west in the easterly flow of wind. Not to mention the amount of Saharan dust that comes off of Africa with these. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic as the sun is starting to come up, we can definitely see the clouds associated with that tropical wave bring some mode of thunderstorms to section of the Cayman Islands, section of Honduras. Clouds associated with the other tropical wave, although it's not that robust, not much thunderstorm associated with it, to the east of the Caribbean. And the clouds associated with the other tropical wave right here to the east of that tropical wave. We can also see a lot of clouds right here, closer to Africa, squashed down, all of which is associated with the intertropical convergence zone. Alright, so let us focus our attention on what was predicted in the previous video about the weather across Jamaica for Tuesday. It was stated that we would have received some rainfall in the morning across sections of some eastern parishes, then some rainfall would have affected sections of some central and western parishes during the afternoon. By the way, we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, I know we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, so St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. And the western parishes, I know we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, so Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And although there wasn't much of a post made on our pages yesterday, we did indeed get on some clouds bring some isolated showers to sections of eastern Portland, eastern St. Thomas, and even sections of Hanover, sections of southern St. James and southern Trelawney might have picked up on some isolated showers, but nothing that robust at all like what the Euro and the GFS models were showing, just to show that these models can be wrong sometimes. Definitely wrong, not necessarily correct all the time, especially when there's contrast, especially when there's disagreement on the modeling. So this is why we have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt sometimes. And with a lot of sinking here in the Atlantic at this time, it explains it perfectly. However, last night the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted on our Twitter page. By the way, keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted last night at about 9:20 p.m. And we definitely saw some rainfall as represented by the greens and the yellows that represent light to moderate even some heavy rainfall across sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica. So definitely sections of Trelawney, St. Anne, section of St. Mary and Portland got in on some of that rainfall. As it relates to what's going on this morning, we can definitely see that the same areas are getting in on more rainfall. Some clouds bringing some isolated showers to sections of St. Anne, maybe section of coastal areas of Trelawney, but more overcast skies than anything else at this time. But definitely it was a bit, robust early, even some thunderstorms in there. Some clouds out to sea to the north of Portland, to the east of St. Mary. Some of this might definitely make it from east to west into portions of St. Mary, as we can see the general flow from the east. So definitely some more rainfall into St. Mary. Maybe by the time I upload this video it should have already been raining, if not over. And if we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, we can definitely see where we had the thunderstorm right there across sections of St. Anne, and we can see that most of it has dissipated as we speak. Some of the upper level clouds being pushed off towards the east. You can also see the thunderstorms associated with that batch of clouds to the north of Portland, and we can also see some thunderstorms off screen right here to the northeast of Jamaica. Taking a look at the latest live cam from the Halfway Tree on See Jamaica's YouTube channel, Halfway Tree cam right there, you can definitely see that it's a sunny morning than anything else. Definitely persons going about their business, no rainfall at all, definitely dry conditions as we speak, as of the latest 7:26 a.m. on a Wednesday. As related to the temperatures right now, we can see up 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 1 p.m. on Wednesday, temperatures should dip up a bit. So we see some oranges coming into portion to Jamaica. The oranges are representative of anywhere to 1 to 3 degrees Celsius above average temperatures. And we know the average temperatures for the month of July are about 91 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 91 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.7 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 35 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. As relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. today, we can definitely see the browns that represent the Saharan dust. We have some vigorous plume, so it should already be here. As a matter of fact, we can definitely even see it on the halfway tree cam a bit. If we back up a bit, we can definitely see it. The hills are a bit hazy. We see more of that milky whitish kind of color. We definitely have some hazy conditions taking place even as we speak. As a matter of fact, if we go over to the view of Kingston cam, if that one's working, let's see if it's working, we can definitely see the hazy conditions even better. So let's see right here. So even if we zoom out a bit so that we can see the sky, the horizon in general doesn't look as clear. The sky doesn't look as blue. We can definitely see that there's some amount of haze way out in the horizon affecting portions of the island, as we can see it looking towards the west, towards the National Stadium and in Kingston. Definitely we can see the hazy conditions way out there. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, well, for today, sorry, we can definitely see that the highest waves across the entire Atlantic should be right there to the far south of Jamaica, north of Colombia, north of Panama, where we see those purples that represent up to 2 to 3 meter wave heights, while the rest of the Caribbean should be getting on those blues that represent 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights. And that's because we're going to be getting on those dull to bright green colors that represent anywhere from 10 to 20 knots. We have those bright green and yellow colors that represents anywhere from 20 to 25, maybe even gusting to 30 knots to the far south of Jamaica. And we'll definitely see that the general flow for these winds coming in from the east across majority of the basin. But as it relates to the wind forecast for Jamaica, we can definitely see, yes, the winds are still coming in from the east, but we're going to be having the least amount of winds across inland areas of some central parishes as well as sections of some western parishes. And we know what usually happens, those cumulus clouds build up and then those clouds become medium level rain clouds, if not upper level cumulonimbus clouds. And then we have that diurnal convection that takes place during the afternoon hours. So we can rule out some afternoon thunderstorms across sections of some western parishes and some inland areas of some central parishes as well. And with the upper level winds coming in from the west, it could definitely make some of these thunderstorms linger across those areas across western Jamaica especially. So if you're in these parishes, Hanover, Westmoreland, maybe southern St. James, Trelawney, northern St. Elizabeth, spilling into section of northern Manchester, northern Clarendon, southern St. Anne, you might just get on some of the rainfall today. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with the rainfall that's expected. The Euro model and the GFS model are showing that by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time, we start to see the blues that represent rainfall come in, where across sections of some western and central parishes in Jamaica. GFS showing something similar with more of the rainfall as represented by the blue colors across western Jamaica than anything else. Definitely sections of Hanover, Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth, southern St. James, southwestern Trelawney getting in on the brunt of it. Maybe even sections of northern St. Andrew, if not northeastern St. Catherine getting in on the mix. And we'll definitely take it. We're in the month of July. The bar graph at the top shows Kingston, the bar graph at the bottom shows Montego Bay, and we can see that usually in July we get less rainfall, even although some of the rainfall from Beryl and the tropical wave spilled into the first week of July based on our secondary rainy season in May, June. So we'll take the rainfall that we can get in July to do something about the heat, not to mention the drought that's definitely going to be coming. There's going to be a time in July when persons are going to be asking for rain, especially when we're wrapping up July and we see that we didn't get much rainfall. We're going to be craving the rainfall again to cool down the temperatures and do something about the drought that we could possibly be getting in on, because we know it doesn't take much for the National Water Commission in Jamaica to impose some water restrictions in our region. And by the way, we see the key right here on this bar graph showing the rainfall in millimeters for Kingston, the rainfall in inches for Montego Bay. So you can do the math right here with this map. We know 1 inch represents up to 25 millimeters of rainfall. So you can go back and forth with this map to see how it really goes in terms of the rainfall that's expected in our neck of the woods. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have a lot of clouds coming in from the east, tropical waves, especially squashed down across the intertropical convergence zone. Tropical wave affecting section of Honduras, Nicaragua, section of the Cayman Islands, and we can also see some clouds associated with a trough, bring some thunderstorm sections of northeastern portions of the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of those spots, we can definitely see where there's definitely some rainfall affecting section of the US and British Virgin Islands as we speak, sections of Puerto Rico. As a matter of fact, if we put these images into motion, we can definitely see that rainfall right there affecting portions of the Dominican Republic as well. Overnight, it has definitely been affecting section of northern Puerto Rico, and there's still a lot more to come. But we see more hit or miss isolated showers for sections of Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, and Guadeloupe than anything else. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we can see some rainfall is represented by the blues and greens coming in, more so from the east, maybe to affect sections of the eastern portion of Barbados. Some of this might make it as far as Martinique and St. Lucia, maybe even sections of St. Vincent later on today. If you take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, not much taking place at all. Just some rainfall right there associated with the tropical wave affecting sections of coastal areas of Honduras. Some rainfall right there to the south of the western tip of Cuba. If we take a look at the rainfall that's expected today, we know that all of this is in inches, and we see it being represented by the key on the right. The greens up to the yellows represent up to 0.1 up to 0.3 or up to 0.5 of an inch of rainfall. And the reds, as we know, represent up to an inch of rainfall or more. We see that more isolated shores are in store for section of the northern Bahamas, section of Cuba, sections of Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, Grenada. Even if we look south of there, we see the consensus for more isolated shores for section of Trinidad, sections of southern Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, southern Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, even sections of the Belize region right there, getting in on some more rainfall. Not to mention sections of the Cayman Islands getting on some isolated shores. And we see that we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus, and when they're in agreement like this, we know that the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.